But I also know players on that team that are like, oh, hell no, we don't want to just be here.
Did you hear what Sheryl Swoopes said about the Indiana Fever? She claims no one wants to play for them. But is that really true? Turns out, there's a lot more to the story. The Fever are actually making big moves in the WNBA right now. Kelsey Mitchell is back, and more players are eager to join. They've become one of the most talked about teams in the league. So why is Swoopes getting it wrong? Let's break down why the Fever are on the rise and why everyone is paying attention. Swoopes has been openly critical of Caitlin Clark and the Fever all season, often questioning their defense.
Defensively, besides Aaliyah Boston, besides Lexi Hull, because I think Kelsey Mitchell's an okay defender. Lexi Hull, like, is a dog on the defensive end.
Yeah.
But besides those two, like, I worry about the defense. Because to your point, come playoffs, you got to be able to guard somebody.
Swoopes thinks the Fever are all offense and no defense. But is that really true? The stats say otherwise. The team has been putting in the work on both ends of the court, and it's starting to pay off. Plus, with Caitlin Clark joining, the spotlight on this team is only going to get brighter.
What I don't see is who is that other guard, right? Because the guard they bring in is Erica Wheeler.
Yep.
Who's the other guard that you can bring in that can defend somebody?
I think that they're the women's version of the Dallas Mavericks. And I see Caitlin being Luka.
I like that.
Kelsey Mitchell being Kyrie.
I like that. Yeah.
You know, they got pieces that are very dangerous, but they haven't decided to play defense individually.
That's not all. Swoopes claims there's a lot of drama with the Fever, making it seem like the team is in chaos. But when we looked into it, we found the complete opposite. The Fever's locker room culture isn't toxic, it's thriving, and here's where it gets interesting. The Fever might actually be the hottest team in the WNBA right now. How? Kelsey Mitchell just re-signed, and other players are eager to join. It's like Swoopes is looking at a completely different team. So why is she so focused on the Fever? Maybe she feels a little threatened. The Fever are building something special, a strong team culture, a growing fan base, and serious potential for the future. Players aren't running away from the Fever, they're running toward them.
And it's so funny to me that it's just so rough. There's a lot of shit going on that, and is it only with the Fever that you just so happen to know that people don't want to be in Indiana? What about the other places? Is it just the Indiana Fever? Because Caitlin Clark is there. So what possibly could be going on in a situation where you have all the fans, you're getting paid, you're nationally televised, social media is growing, you got the best fan base, your merchandise is going up, your jersey sales are going up, everything.
Let's start with the bombshell that's got everyone talking. Kelsey Mitchell is back. Her return is like a giant neon sign flashing. Hey superstars, Indiana is the place to be. And guess what? The rest of the league is starting to take notice.
But if you don't want to be here, hey, we're not forcing you to be here. We want people who want to be here. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, you know what I'm saying? Cunningham, Colson. We want players who want to be here. Kelsey Mitchell, re-sign, because you said significant pieces. It couldn't have been Alyssa Smith. It could not have been Alyssa Smith. I know that's not who we're calling significant piece.
That's right. Natasha Howard, a three-time WNBA champion, is suiting up for the Fever. And let's not forget Sydney Coulson joining the squad. These aren't just random signings. This is serious talent choosing Indiana. So what's causing this sudden rush to the Fever? 2 words: Caitlin Clark. How impact isn't just on the court, it's changing the entire WNBA. Clark's jersey sales are through the roof, and other players are starting to think, hey, I want a piece of that action. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever aren't just attracting players, they're becoming a fan favorite, too. Merchandise sales are skyrocketing, arenas are packed, and the buzz around this team is bigger than it's been in years.
Let me make this very clear, right? Let's listen to this.
Look at that, yeah, oh no.
And Gil's point is right, and I've been saying it. A lot of people say it. When you're going to be an indie, you're going to be making more money. You're going to be having more endorsements. Your contract will be higher. You're going to get treated right. You have the facilities on the way. You're going to get the most exposure in the WNBA, period, hands down, point blank. You're going to be nationally national televised games. You're going to have national televised games.
And you know what's even crazier? This is just the beginning. The Fever's roster is shaping up to be a powerhouse, and other teams are starting to sweat, wondering how they'll match up. Let's break it down. Mitchell's scoring, Howard's championship experience, Coulson's versatility, and the Clark effect drawing in even more talent. Add a fired-up fan base, and you've got something special brewing in Indiana. Think Swoopes was done throwing shade? Hold on to your seats. Her take on Aaliyah Boston is about to make your jaw drop.
Shit, but tons, right? They played a lot of games the first half of the season.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference that rest made for this team, for individual players and for the team. But the beginning of the year, you have a player like an Aaliyah Boston, who was Rookie of the Year last year, #1 draft pick, a hell of a player. But because things weren't going the way everybody thought they should, then you got social media coming out calling her everything but a child of God. Made the kid delete her social media. And now that they're winning and she's playing better, oh my God, we love you, Aaliyah.
Remember when Aaliyah Boston had a rough start to her rookie season? Well, Swoopes claims fans turned on her faster than a quick crossover. But here's where it gets interesting. She says that as soon as Boston started dominating, those same fans were suddenly all, "We love you, Aaliyah." Can you believe Swoopes is trying to paint Fever fans as fair-weather supporters?
But my thing is this. So what happens when Aaliyah ain't playing well again?
Let's break this down for a sec. Is Swoopes really trying to say Fever fans are fickle? That they can't handle a rookie finding her footing? Come on now, every player goes through ups and downs, especially in their first season. It's just part of the game. And sure, fans get frustrated sometimes, but that doesn't mean they don't have their players' backs.
Yeah.
And let me go ahead and say this. She's a professional athlete. LeBron goes through it. Stephen Curry goes through it. Everybody you can think of goes through it. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, Ronaldo, Messi. Every player you can think of goes through it. From college, high school, all the way to the pros. And if anything, you're making it seem like it's probably not even as bad as some of this NBA stuff. And real.
But here's where Swoopes' argument falls apart faster than a bad zone defense. She's completely ignoring the fact that Boston isn't just any rookie. She's a cornerstone of the Fever's future. The fans know that. They are invested in her success. So when she started to find her groove, of course they were hyped. It's not about being fair-weather fans. It's about celebrating a young star coming into her own.
No one's paying attention to him. So all those players on there is fighting for a light, right? Fever has this big, bright light, which means someone like Boston, you wasn't playing well, everyone don't like you, right? When you are playing well, Jesus, open up the red carpet, boom. So she's getting the red carpet treatment when she's playing well, and when she's not,
From
get the
who?
fuck
Who's
out
she
of
getting
here.
the red carpet treatment from?
Just social media,
fans.
people, right?
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but doesn't criticism come with the territory of being a pro athlete? Absolutely. And that's exactly why Swoopes' take is so off the mark. Boston, like every other player in the league, knows that handling pressure is part of the job. It's not about avoiding criticism, it's about how you respond to it.
Was to her jersey, when they loved her jersey's moving like hotcakes. She's getting voted into the All-Star game. So it is a hate and love thing. So as the player, you have to understand that either you're gonna have this really high level hate and love, or you can be playing very great and no one notices you. But you can be playing very bad and no one notices you.
Let's look at the facts. Boston didn't fold when things got tough. She put in the work, adjusted her game, and started dominating on both ends of the court. That's the kind of mental toughness that separates the good from the great. And Fever fans saw that growth, cheering her on every step of the way. But here's where it gets wild. Swoopes is acting like Boston can't handle a little heat from the fans. Are you kidding me? This is a player who led South Carolina to a national championship and thrived under pressure on the biggest stages in college basketball. You really think a few frustrated tweets are going to shake her? Please.
And you're over here making a big deal, making it seem like there's a lot of stuff going on. So, are you saying Aaliyah Boston doesn't want to be there? I mean, Like, start saying names with your statements, because you're just putting stuff in the air.
The reality is, Boston's journey is exactly what makes sports so exciting. We love watching young players overcome challenges and reach their full potential. It's not about fans flip-flopping. It's about the thrill of watching a star being born. Right?
So if you're not in the locker room, how are you expressing things like this? Goofy. If you're not in the locker room, Sheryl Swoopes, how are you expressing these things?
Talking about more social media.
Okay.
Oh, social media. So you're just going based off social media. So where did it say, I don't want to be here in Indiana? And you're going based on social media. So you're making things up. You're making things up is what you're saying. Like right now, you're pretty much saying there's a lot of shit going on in Indiana. I don't want to be there. Significant pieces. And you're going based off social media. So you're making shit up.
All right, let's get to the real reason Sheryl Swoopes is going after the Fever. It all comes down to one name, Caitlin Clark. And let me tell you, Clark is shaking up the league in ways we've never seen before.
The stuff toward her is petty and jealous. And the thing I love about her, she never says a word.
Think I'm exaggerating? Check this out. Clark's jersey sales are breaking records, but it's not just about merch. Clark is changing the game on the court, and even veterans like Swoopes can't ignore it.
There was a report that came out from the boardroom saying that since the start of the regular season, sales of WNBA merchandise are up over 500% versus the same period last year, with fan gear sales over the first half of the season at the highest in league history. Player-specific merchandise, including jerseys and t-shirts, have seen a staggering 1,000% increase in sales. Additionally, sales of league-specific merchandise like the popular orange WNBA hoodie are also up 200%. The top-selling WNBA player merch, Caitlin Clark #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3, Kate Martin 4.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Clark isn't just a rookie making a splash. She's a spark igniting a wildfire of talent and excitement across the WNBA. Her style of play, ball handling, and playmaking ability are drawing comparisons to some of the best in the NBA. That's right, we're talking game-changing potential. Other WNBA stars are watching how Clark is transforming the Fever. Can you believe it? The same team Swoopes claimed no one wanted to play for is now a hot destination. We're even hearing whispers that top talent is lining up to play alongside Clark. Talk about a 180. But here's the kicker. Clark's influence goes beyond her individual performance. She's reshaping the entire perception of the Indiana Fever. Her impact is already being compared to all-time greats who changed the dynamics of their teams and the league itself. That's the kind of player we're dealing with here.
The Fever did not come to play. They are on a mission to win now, like 2025 championship season incoming. They were so quiet during free agency. And in the past 24 hours, boom, boom, boom. Re-signed Kelsey Mitchell to a max deal. Picked up Natasha Howard, bringing her back to the Indiana Fever, where she was originally drafted. And then they just announced a 3-way trade, sending Alyssa Smith to Dallas and Sophie Cunningham coming to the Fever. Team in 24 hours just got exponentially better. Starting 5, Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, Lexi Hall and Sophie can duke it out for the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, Aaliyah Boston at the 5.
So why is Swoopes really targeting Clark and the Fever? It's simple. Clark represents a changing of the guard. She's the future of the WNBA, and that future is arriving faster than anyone expected. Swoopes comments. They're starting to look less like analysis and more like the last gasp of the old guard trying to hold on to relevance. Clark isn't just making waves. She's changing the entire landscape of the WNBA.
But I'm just letting it be known, like, hey, her jersey sales are up because of Caitlin Clark. I'm sure Lexi Hall's jersey sales are up this year. I'm sure Natasha Howard's jersey sales will be up this year. I'm sure DeWanna Bonner, Indiana Fever's jersey sales will be up this year. Cunningham will be skyrocketing.
Now, you might be thinking, is this the start of a WNBA dynasty? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but one thing's for sure, the days of the Fever being an afterthought are over. They are building something big, and players around the league are taking notice, and just wait until you hear how this completely shatters Swoopes' narrative. But we'll get to that in a bit.
You're just lying. So not only were you lying, it all backfired in your face for lying, and now you just look dumb. Just to be honest, like, respectfully, like, it's, you opened your mouth, you've lied on Caitlin Clark multiple times, then you come out with a statement like this, which was a lie, which you admitted to saying, well, I'm just going based on social media. you're lying. So that's really all I got, man. And I'm just happy that Kelsey Mitchell did resign.
Let's wrap this up, because the truth about the Fever's rise is way more exciting than Swoopes wants you to believe. The Fever aren't just chasing a playoff spot, they're shaking up the league's hierarchy. With this new roster, Indiana isn't just hoping for the playoffs, they're expecting it. Can you believe it? The former punching bag is now a legit threat. Making the playoffs wouldn't just be a win, it would be a full-blown transformation. Keep your eyes on Indiana this season. You won't want to miss what happens next as we track every move of this explosive Fever squad, ready to set the league on fire.